Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to the first Coaster War of 2019. You may notice that we have done a new Texas Giant versus Iron Rattler before. However, that was in 2016. I think I was 14 or 15. Yeah, I was 14. It was bad. So, we are now going to redo this properly, fairly, no bias, because I had so much bias towards Texas Giant. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was just 14, so, you know, whatever. So we're going to have 10 categories, and every Coaster War from now on, each coaster will have the chance to get 100 points, and each category will have 10, and there will be 10 categories. The categories today are height, speed, length and duration, layout, intensity, pacing, smoothness, airtime, theming, operations, and at the end we'll have the total and the winner. So let's get started. Alright, so first up we have the height. Iron Rattler is 179 feet tall. That is very tall. That is almost a hyper. New Texas Giant is 153 feet tall. The tallest hybrid coaster is Steel Vengeance at 205 feet, so Iron Rattler will be earning a 9 because if you do the math, it's just division, you get around 9. I'll be rounding a little bit if it's close, but if it's near a 0.5, I'll give it like a 0.5 or whatever, if you get what I mean. A New Texas Giant will be earning a 7.5. Iron Rattler does feel pretty tall though because you're up on top of that cliff. And for the speed category, Iron Rattler goes 70 miles per hour, while New Texas Giant slacks behind with only 65 miles per hour. Iron Rattler is only 4 miles per hour slower than the fastest hybrid, so it'll be earning a 9.5, while New Texas Giant will be earning a 8.5. And now for the length and duration. So Iron Rattler is 3,266 feet long, New Texas Giant is 4,200 feet long. Obviously, New Texas Giant is longer and feels longer, while Iron Rattler, it's pretty short for its length, honestly. It could feel a bit longer. So after doing the math and factoring in how long the ride actually feels, Iron Rattler is getting a 5.5, while New Texas Giant will get a very solid 7. And now for the layout, I'm just going to grade the coasters based on their layout. Iron Rattler goes up and down off a cliff like 3 or 4 times, and it's just insane. It has a fast moment, it has kind of a slow twisty moment, and then it's fast again. It's just all over the place. Granted, it is very short, so it can't get a 10. However, if they like added on tons of a layout after like the quarry cliff drop into the tunnel, if they added more onto that, Iron Rattler could totally be a 10. It could be the best hybrid. It already has the best trains. New Texas Giant, it just kind of meanders around. You get some floater and ejector, and depending on if you're in the summer or winter or fall or spring, the mid-course will be on or off. If you ride it in the summer, it's going to suck. If you ride it in the winter, it's going to be a very, very top-tier, mid-top-tier hybrid. It's going to be very awesome. So because of its long layout, long duration, and half the year amazing ride, New Texas Giant will be earning a 7. Alright, now this is also kind of part of the layout, but it's different. So now we're going to talk about intensity, because intensity does not always matter for the layout, so that's why I'm going to make it a separate category. Iron Rattler is pretty darn intense. It's just not very long. It has some not very intense moments, but the second time you go up on the quarry wall, you kind of just meander a little bit. It kind of feels like New Texas Giant, but it's more twisty, and you do actually get some pretty intense laterals, even though you're not going that fast. And Iron Rattler's laterals, especially going into the final brake run, you just slam into it. It is uber intense, and when you're flying around off and on the cliff, it's just so intense. Like, it's not describable. You gotta ride it in the back row. New Texas Giant, it can be pretty intense, like some of its ejector moments. However, it does tend to meander quite a bit, and at the end you get some nice laterals. However, they're pretty weak considering it's not going super fast. It's really meandering around some small turns. Nothing really special. I give New Texas Giant maybe a 5. Now we have one of the most, it seems like, important categories of last year, 2018, and that is pacing. Do any of these coasters have pacing issues? People talk about Iron Rattler's pacing all the time. People go, oh my gosh, it goes up on the wall, it's slow, ugh. However, every time I ride it, keep in mind, well, I'm not 270 pounds anymore. A month or two ago, I was 278 pounds or something like that, and my big butt was still coming up out of the seat up on those little airtime hills up on top of that wall. So keep in mind, Iron Rattler, there's no way it has pacing issues, okay? I mean, I'm not that big anymore, but like, when I was that big, I was flying up out of my seat, and I was still getting whipped around through everything. Yeah, it slows down a bit, but it does not have pacing issues, especially considering you just fly into the brakes. Texas Giant, however, about half of the year, you really just crawl into the brakes, especially even in the winter when it's not warm yet. You just crawl through the layout. If the train's empty, you just crawl through the layout. Basically, if you want to get a good ride on Giant, you have to be on a full train without the trims on, and it has to be warm. The ride has to be warm. It doesn't have to be warm outside, but the ride itself has to be warmed up. Otherwise, it's just not that great. So Iron Rattler's going to get a 9 for just hauling straight through the layout, and Texas Giant will get a 5 for, you know, it's a very temperamental ride. It's good about half the year. Alright, now we are going to compare the two oldest RMC's smoothness. Which one is smoother? Well, Iron Rattler's track, everything after New Texas Giant, starting with Iron Rattler, the track was bolted together, welded, and then sanded. Before that, like New Texas Giant, the track was just bolted together. So New Texas Giant's actually pretty special RMC. The track's connected differently. So, New Texas Giant can actually run pretty rattly sometimes. However, it can run really smooth. I don't know what makes it run that way. Maybe the temperature or how warmed up the wheels are. I really don't know. But New Texas Giant will get a 7 for at least being good most of the time. Iron Rattler, it's pretty much the same but better. It runs so smooth. However, I think Fiesta Texas has some maintenance problems or something. Just some of the rides they just seem kind of sketchy sometimes. They'll make these noises, like Goliath is all squeaky and all that, and Superman can sound weird sometimes, and so does Poltergeist and Wonder Woman. I don't know, this is a little sketchy. And Iron Rattler's wheels just make this horrendous rattling sometimes, and it just like shakes the entire train. And it'll be like the back wheel on the train, and it just sounds like you're riding on the square, and it's really disturbing sometimes. But when it's running good, it's running amazing. So I'm going to give Iron Rattler a 9, since it's only sketchy sometimes. Alright, now we're going to talk about the airtime. Now this is going to be a nice, short, simple, and sweet category. Iron Rattler has fantastic airtime, some of my absolute favorite. You're just diving off a wall, getting ejector hills, the amazing, incredible drop. Its drop is better than Steel Vengeance's, by the way. It's just incredible. 10 out of 10. I wish there was more. Texas Giant, airtime's not as good, however, there is a ton of it. And you get 3 different kinds. You get some ejector, flow ejector, straight up ejector, floater, everything. And mixed with like turns, you get some on the overbank turns like you see there. It's just so cool, and there's so much of it. So New Texas Giant's getting a 10 as well. See, boom, simple. RMC airtime 10. Woo. And now for the theming. Thomas, is theming really important? Yeah, it is sometimes. When you're waiting in a long line, it can really make your waiting in line more entertaining. So when you walk in line for Iron Rattler, there's rocks. The queue is made out of rocks. Are you kidding me? It's made out of rocks. That is cool. I like rocks. You can sit on the rocks. You can lean on the rocks. You can touch the rocks. It's cool. And there's also like some trucks and some Rattler theming. It's the same theming they have with the original Rattler, so like it's really a rip-off, but you know, whatever. It's pretty cool. It's very solid. I would give it a pretty good 3. It's better than almost every Six Flags ride, because, you know, they're pretty generic. New Texas Giant, it's about the same, minus the theming in the queue. They have nice theming in the station, but nothing really else. I'd say they have a little bit less than Iron Rattler. Iron Rattler has nothing in the station, though, but Texas Giant's got pretty good station theming, I guess, so I guess a 2. And for the final category, we have the operations. This is extremely important because it will have a huge impact on your ride experience.
You are fake news.
Okay? Trust me. I'm sure most of you know. And Six Flags, oh boy. So, Iron Rattler can be pretty awesome sometimes with operations. Its line never really feels that long. It just sucks because it's a short ride. But whatever. It has pretty good Six Flags operations. I gotta give it to them. They're pretty dang good. So I gotta give them a 6. Like, it's not amazing. It's not like Kings Island or Cedar Point or Hershey Park or Disney, but like they're pretty dang good for Six Flags. Like, I'm almost never complaining about Iron Rattler's crew. New Texas Giant, however, is probably one of the worst operations I've seen in the Six Flags chain. It's pretty bad. Like, sometimes the crew will just be like kind of like walking down the train with their heads down, like touching bars, just taking their time, like they don't care and they just want to go home and kill themselves or something. It's pretty sad. Like, a 4-minute dispatch is pretty quick for Texas Giant. It's pretty horrendous. So New Texas Giant, I'm being really nice here. I'm giving it a 3. So, finally, after 3 years of that extremely New Texas Giant bias video I made, it is time to find out who the real winner of the Iron Rattler versus New Texas Giant Coaster War is. And the winner is, drumroll please, And the winner is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, coming in with the score of 75. It got 75% of the possible points that it could have gotten out of 100. Go Iron Rattler, let's go. Yeah, partay. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah, Iron Rattler is a pretty dang good RMC. Really the only bad thing about it is that it's really short. That's about it. Pacing's not even an issue. It's really just short, guys. Like, I love this ride to death. It would probably be better than Steel Vengeance if it was longer. I mean, it's got a better drop, and all of its top 3 moments are better. So, like, I don't know what Six Flags was thinking. They had so much more structure to deal with, but they didn't use it all. And then Texas Giant did pretty good too. It had a 62. I mean, that's the first RMC, and like, that's pretty dang good. So like, each of these rides is pretty amazing. Some people actually prefer New Texas Giant, and I can understand that because I used to. But I prefer Iron Rattler. I like it a lot more. It's so insane, and it's kind of like my Texas Diamondback, honestly. This is like my baby in here in Texas, but I'm leaving it pretty soon, thank God, because I'm going back to Ohio. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell everybody you know, but most importantly, subscribe. I just punched my laptop because I'm getting so into this, guys. But, for real, let me know what you thought of this video. If you thought it was hype, be sure to drop that like, hit that comment button, and let me know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already. Hit that notifications button. We are uploading a lot. I'm like sitting here waving my arms in my room. A lot. And we're going to have a lit 2019. We got the 2019 East Coaster road trip coming up. It's going to be lit. Entire East Coast. Ugh. Let me know which coaster war you guys want next. Make sure it's coasters I've ridden, please. Thanks. And let me know what coasters you want me to review, what parks you want me to review. I've only been to a select few, so make sure you pick one I've been to. If you don't know what parks I've been to, don't bother asking, because, yeah. Anyway, goodbye. See you guys in a day or two or something like that in the next video, because I'm uploading a lot, because I'm cool and stuff. And, right on, boys!